Hello, welcome to this video. In this video, we're going to talk about something that's really exciting. You see, QuickBooks being a cloud-based solution means that you have full access to it anywhere you want, but that also means that other systems have full access to it as well. So in today's video, we're going to explore two solutions which basically takes your QuickBooks data and converts them into Google Sheets or Excel-S data. And what that means is that because this data is going to be live, we're going to have some real good fun with actually dealing with that data and making that data work for us. In our practice, we utilize this solution so that we can automate a whole ton of things within it based purely on our actual QuickBooks license, which is there invoicing our customers. If you've ever thought about automating any of your reporting solutions, this video is for you. Hello, my name is Patrick. I'm a chartered accountant, a certified UK trainer with a fancy new logo, that QuickBooks chap on the internet, and also head of accounts here at Boffix. Now, full disclosure, there's two softwares we're going to be looking at today. One of them I've been using for the past year, maybe year and a bit, and you may have even heard me talk about this on one of the podcasts that we do, QuickBooks Labs, first Wednesday of every month. And you know that I've been actually utilising this software for a long time. The other software we're going to talk about today, though, is a software that approached me to talk about the software and let my community know how good it is. And they're making sure that there'll be some sort of way of having some sort of referral and everything else in the links below. But we're going to look at both solutions and exactly what those solutions can be for. So the solutions themselves is all about making sure that QuickBooks Online can talk to Google Sheets, which is basically Excel. And by the way, if you're not using Google Sheets at this point in time, please look at utilising it. Excel was and still is one of my true loves. I absolutely love Excel itself, but Google Sheets is just as comparable. And what it gives you more of is because it's purely cloud-based, you get a lot more collaboration opportunities, and also gives you the opportunity to have live data coming from different sources. That's what we're going to be looking at today. The idea that your QuickBooks license and all that wonderful data that's in there can be accessible by some other form of software. Now, this has already been done with most of the integrations out there, but the fact that you then can manipulate that data, do what you want with that data, opens up a vast amount of options for you to really automate certain procedures. And both of these softwares is all designed to making sure that the data from QuickBooks can flow nicely into Google Sheets. And some of the possibilities and some of the things you can do with that is really powerful. Scenario number one is if you've got multiple companies, well, you can have the profit and loss from company one, the profit and loss from company two, and you can automate actually consolidating that and showing you your group performance from there. So you don't have to take one file, take another, start playing around with it. All of that whole element can completely be automated. So as soon as someone goes in and looks at that data, they're going to see the consolidated position of what their group is doing. Really powerful. Second use case for it is that you want to be keeping an eye on key KPIs throughout your business, where you can create vast dashboards utilizing that data and having live data. So as soon as you make a sale on QuickBooks, you can set it up that automatically that data is going to be updated to reflect whatever KPI you're looking to do. And you can have that dashboard going against your office, can have it go into some key stakeholders, but ultimately you're going to have that opportunity to present data, live data that is, on a much more regular basis and have it go into somewhere that you know you can manipulate to exactly what it is you need to show. And finally, the solution that I use it for more than anything else is pure automation. You see, I run an accounting practice. Don't you have heard of them? They're called Boffix. Well, we utilize these software so that every time that we sell a particular product or service, we can then make sure that we're delivering on it. So as an example, if we take our bookkeeping solution, which is a really popular service that our customers like, well, if a customer's paying for a bookkeeping solution from us, it's our duty to make sure that we provide a bookkeeping solution. Well, with all our clients, we need to be making sure that we don't drop the ball and maybe accidentally not do some form of bookkeeping for one of them. Well, what we do is we use this service to always look at our current invoicing, look at who we are actually providing that bookkeeping service for, and then we use that data to then build all of our task management solution. And it's all run by everything that's happening in QuickBooks. So every time we make a brand new sale, so maybe we bring a new client on in a particular month, then they will automatically have their tasks being generated because their line item in their invoice says bookkeeping. Furthermore, if that client was to say leave us during a month, then that's fine as well, because when they leave, it will automatically update their tasks to say that we don't need to provide that service anymore. And having that automation means that we're basing all of our tasks and all of our items that we need to be completing purely on our invoicing. And at the end of the day, if we've invoiced for someone, then that's our most important aspect and our most important metric to should we be providing their actual service. And if we don't invoice that person, or someone decides that actually they don't need their bookkeeping done this month, they can do it themselves, well, again, we don't want to tread on their toes. We don't want to provide a service that, ultimately they're not paying for. So we have that control and we bring that into play. And that's where this sort of solution becomes really, really powerful. You start automating your processes based on the data that's in QuickBooks. And one of the things that definitely, if you learn to this channel and definitely understand from my point of view, is we're constantly talking about getting confidence in that data. Your QuickBooks data should be one of the most powerful, most complete, one of the most up-to-date pieces of data out there that your company owns. And if that's the case, well, why not utilize that data? Why not utilize and bring that into your automation so that you can run systems and run solutions of it based directly on what's there? These three examples I've just given you are just a minuscule elements of the possibilities of what we can look at. But before we look at the more complex stuff, and we'll do a further video on that if you guys like it, so put a comment in below. Let me know if you want to see some more videos like this about these two solutions and how we can utilize them. Or let me know below if you want more content relating to Google Sheets and how we've been utilizing Google Sheets to automate a lot of stuff within our accountancy practice. Basically though, today is all about making sure that we know the basics of each of these solutions. So let's start off with solution number one, G-Accon, and let's go and have a look exactly how that works, and I suppose more importantly, why we were interested in the first place. Okay, so first of all, let's kind of get ourselves integrated into what we're going to be looking at today. So here is our normal QuickBooks license, here is a profit and loss account, and let's look at and see if there's some data to come through. Let's look at the last month's worth of data. As you can see, there's not much transaction to come in here, so we're going to keep it nice and light for this example, but we should be seeing £332.95 worth of profit and loss. Let's see how we can bring that data into a live file. So first of all, I would just jump into Google Sheets. From Google Sheets, I'd create a brand new one, and I'm going to title this one Example G. Now for both of these solutions, I've already gone through and I've added them to your Google Sheets. Both of them have ways in which they can show you to run through that spreadsheet and run through that actual example of doing it. I'm not going to go through how to add a add-on to Google Sheets in this particular video, but again, if that's something you want and you want me to look at Google Sheets in more detail, drop the comments below and we'll add it to another video. Okay, so what I want to do is, because I've already connected it, I'm going to go to my extensions, G-Accon for there, and I'm going to go sign in. And what you should notice from here, this is very similar to when you sign into any form of QuickBooks. At this point, you've probably seen this a lot of times. This is you just basically accepting and giving permission for this software, this G-Accon, to actually look and connect to this client. It says it's now been successfully done. So I basically return back to it. Now, straight away, one of the downsides to this particular piece of software, so the first one we're going to look at, is that it is quite clunky in the way that the software is working. You see, this here is basically your whole UI, your whole interface into utilizing it. Once you've got your head around it, you actually have a lot of powerful options here, lots of ways we can get lots of elements done. It even gives us a two-way sync. So if there are opportunities here where you can make updates to Google Sheets, which will then reflect in your QuickBooks Online experience as well. So for this one, we're going to keep it really straightforward. We're just going to go in and we're going to use a standard accounting report. And from the standard accounting report, when it wants to load, I'm going to drop this down and we're going to go for profit and loss. Notice how there's so many options here for different types of reports. Again, much more extensive, this range of data and opportunities here than we're going to see in that second one. But for now though, let's go in and find profit and loss. Gives you a chance to compare with it if you want to, but what I'm interested in at this point, and all the these are options here you can make adjustments to. So do you want accrual method? Do you want year to date? Do you want ascending? Do you want account? And you can go and filter them by utilizing this button here of which ones are going to be there and which ones aren't going to be there. You can go through and actually tick on all of them as well. You can look at the report layout. So do you want a historical? Do you want different types of filters included? And also you can decide what type of data you want to bring in as well, and how you want the data to be manipulated in Google Sheets. One of the things that I do need to make sure is I've got this month shown here, and it's much more of a dynamic range if you use the option for this. But actually I think I said last month, didn't I? So last month is the one we're comparing to. Last month's there. And this is where you also get to say what the refresh frequency is going to be. Is it hourly, daily, weekly? You do need to have a paid for solution to have more of the options there, but it will work quite well. You can even say what are the execution times you're going to need, when do you want them to go, and then you can press execute. And what this is doing now, it's going to go into QuickBooks Online, it's going to pull that data in to give you an opportunity to utilize it. As you can see here, that data has been pulled in for me. So the information I was interested in was this final column here, the 33295, but because of the settings I had set, it brought in all of the data I needed in nice unifying forms, which means now this is normal Excel, so I can go through and I can equals this one, I can start doing some VLOOKUPs, I can start doing some HLOOKUPs, I can start using the word unique, I can do everything I would in Google to be able to manipulate this data as much as I want. I can start adding on extra companies, I can start bringing that data in. Basically, I can start putting together this data. I can start utilizing so I can see if there's information using the normal data formats that I've got. And this is just going to start bringing in that data into QuickBooks Online. And thankfully, because it's recurring, this is always going to be live data for me. So that was a quick example of how to get the data in with G-Accon. Let's look at the same option this time, but this time we're going to use live. Well, this time we're going to use Liveflow. So let's do example Liveflow. Now straight away on this one, you'll see that when I go into my extensions and I go to Liveflow and I go integrate QuickBooks, you get much more of a fleshed out UI. So I'm getting this nice view here. I get the connect to QuickBooks button. Again, I'm going to go for that one. Connecting up my QuickBooks license. Make sure I'm happy with it, press connect. And one of the nicer bits about this is this tab will close down automatically for me. Whereas in that last one, I had to click back into it. And I get this really, really nice UI here, which we can utilize to get that same amount of data. So first of all, which company? I can quickly connect another company if I need to. I'm going to choose here profit and loss, but do notice there is a lot of options there for reports, but I wouldn't say it is as extensive as we saw on G-Accon. What it is so much more easier to work with. So I got the profit and loss there. What do I want a date range? Well, I said I didn't. I said I want it for last month. I get the option to display columns by if I want to. I can bring in some filters, same as we would normally. It's brought in all my classes and all my locations. So everything's coming beautifully for me. And all I need to do, once I create a sheet name there, is I press create live report. It's going to do the same thing as before. But the nice bit here is I now have this area to go in and manage my reports. Do I want to keep this live? So whenever you open the spreadsheet or refresh the page, it will automatically update for you, and you can create it to automatically update as you go along. And you can have it so you can look at more settings as well. Do you want links to QBO? Auto refresh the report. Well, you can have it every hour or when I open the spreadsheet. So I would choose every hour on that one to bring it down. And you have the option as well to drill down. So here is what my Liveflow report looks like. I can do exactly the same, but I get this opportunity now, which I didn't on the other one, to actually go straight to where that data is. So if I want to go and find out what that purchases is, unfortunately, because I'm not signed in on this one, I will have to. I've got another browser open. I will have to do a whole copy and paste, but all I'm doing is copy and paste that link just to show you how that would have worked. Press return, and basically it's going to take me directly to how that link was broken down. So that's where you get that extra functionality, that extra UI that goes through it. Other than that though, it's exactly the same sort of data, so I can go through and I can bring this data in, and I get to see it from here. I get to close the data down. If I didn't want to have and see all of the rows, I can close them down. And if you compare the two from there, they're both bringing in the same data, just being presented in a different way. So again, what can I use this for? Well, one of the most important bits that people use this for is that consolidation. So if I had company number 1 and then I had company number 2, on both of these solutions, I can have both of them either on different different pages, or by having different ones, and then I can easily consolidate them because this is just Excel. So just like in the other one, I can do equals, I can do a plus, and I can add things together, take things away, use vertical lookups. I can control this and consolidate this as much as I need to. What I also have the opportunity to do here is I can be more dynamic with the way that I'm bringing in data. The fact that I can have this live data, meaning I'm bringing stuff in, means I can manipulate it much better. One of the really nice things as well, if I want to find out, I showed you I can just copy this data, bring it over there. But if if I've not got time to go in and press the link there, I do have the option to go and drill down directly from here. So what I can do is I can hover over it. I can go back to my tools, extensions, Liveflow, drill into your reports. And without having to jump into QuickBooks, I can see that data directly from here. So now it's brought in that data for me that I can manipulate through as I need to. What gets really powerful though, if I go in and I look at some other reports, and let's look at transaction list. Let's look at since 90 days ago, look at filters. I even get to see what's been cleared and reconciled and deposited, so that'll be quite useful for me. Create a report, and this is where I can really start the automation, because I've got those transactions coming here. Well, I can bring this in because I can see what's cleared and unreconciled and all those sort of items as well. That gives me the chance to go, right, I can look at this data and maybe start producing reports on how much of my data hasn't been unreconciled. How much more work have I got to do? Got all of my clients. That could be a nice and quick and easy way for me to pinpoint which of my clients I need to spend the most time on because they've got the most unreconciled transactions. And again, because it's live data, I can bring this data into QuickBooks nice and easily. But in both examples here, you can see how powerful this can be. Having that live data in, making it refresh on an hourly basis, however you want to refresh it, means that you can keep an eye and keep that data coming through. And again, I've made some really, really powerful automations utilizing this data, making it so my practices run based on my sales invoices of an individual particular month, meaning that I'm making sure that I've got that data flowing through that I can then utilize it, and that we can make sure that from a practice point of view we're running efficiently and we're meeting expectations. And it's that expectations the most important thing, and that's where this becomes absolutely invaluable, because I'm then running my practice, I'm running my data, I'm automating all that based on my sales invoice. Now again, this is just a quick look at both of them. We've shown you how to connect them up. We've shown you the power and how easy it is to get that data in. But really then it's a case of let me know below if you want to go into this in any more detail. Especially on the G-Accon, there is so much we can go into. What I would say if I was kind of comparing the two and showing you kind of pluses and minuses is, at this point in time, G-Accon certainly has the most robust offering of reports and functionality, but it's not quite in a position where if you weren't a little bit more technical minded, or at least happy to kind of play around with settings and looking at little bits of extra elements, you may find it a little bit overwhelming. I love G-Accon, and actually G-Accon is the solution that we're using in our practice at this point in time. But that's because that was the first one we came across, and we had to learn how to play with it, how to manipulate it, how to actually get the information we want out of it. And it isn't straightforward from day one. There is a learning curve there. It's quite a steep learning curve. But once you've got there, you can bring out some really great, important automations at that point. Whereas I feel that Liveflow, aesthetically does look a lot better in terms of not only kind of the UI that's there to get you to work through, but also because of the fact that the reports there do look a little bit more enticing. You can click into them, you can work with them a little bit more. Now for me, is this a solution I didn't want just myself playing with, but I wanted kind of my staff to be working with, or maybe my clients to work with. I do, for me, feel like Liveflow is the better option for that because of the UI, because it's so much more simplified to use. I think it lends itself a lot better for those sort of scenarios where you're getting multiple people to use it. That being said, G-Accon at this point in time just gives you that more functionality. So you're gonna have to weigh that up. Is it that you need that little bit more functionality, or do you need something that's almost more user-friendly, robust, and can go there? One thing I have found with G-Accon as a negative is that there was a couple of times when it just completely failed to refresh, which meant that I had to then physically go in and press the refresh button. And we've had to learn from our point of view how to put controls into place to make sure that doesn't happen again. Whereas Liveflow, again, because it's not got that quite breadth of it and it's not quite as sophisticated as the other solution, there have been times where we've asked it to do too much, where it's just come back and said, no, there's too much data, we can't bring all that in. Whereas G-Accon's never had that limitation. We've just always been able to just throw whatever we can at it, and it's always been able to cope. So, you know, both sides of them, I think both of the solutions and both of the companies out there will have the ability to improve on that. Liveflow have already added extra functionality since I started using them, and I can imagine they're going to continue to add on other ones. So they will at some point get to parity with the other solution. And I think with G-Accon as well, I think they just need to work on making it a bit more simplified, a bit more straightforward, and giving that opportunity, I think, to have less technical people play around with it. Because again, it's so powerful that I think it's a shame that not more people are using this. But yeah, this has been my first look at both of them. I absolutely love this one. Liveflow are the ones that I would recommend wholeheartedly for people to play around with, have a go at, and go from there. If you do need that little bit more, maybe jump over to G-Accon, or maybe just reach out to their help at Liveflow and just say, look, I'm looking to do X, Y, Z. Is that something that's in the roadmap? Is that something that we can look at getting implemented sooner rather than later? But yeah, what do you think to this? And what do you think for me to going into this in more detail? Is this something you're going to find useful? Is this something that's going to be a worthwhile video to do? Well, do let me know, because there's a lot in here that I think we can definitely utilize. Again, I'm using it to completely automate my practice, and I'd love for you guys to be able to utilize this software as well. I think it's really underutilized at this point in time, and I think there's a lot of options in there, a lot of features in there that you're going to find really, really useful. You know, even just as simplified as having that dashboard, having that live dashboard is so powerful. You know, getting all your team to be looking at trying to hit those KPIs and having that information coming through, having it live, having it fresh, having it up there can really help you get that team together and get that opportunities to go through. But there we have it, a nice look into how to connect, how to make work both G-Accon and also Liveflow. Again, down below there'll be some links and everything to Liveflow. Thank you for reaching out to me. Thank you for pushing me in towards this. This is definitely a solution that I'm going to be utilizing more. We're going to get some more content on there. Again, if you want to, put the comments below. And I think this is something that everyone's going to benefit from using. Once you see the power of this, you've got no reason to kind of look back really, because I think this is a really, really key part of the benefit of having Cloud Account in the first place. And we're all about integration here. We're all about wanting to get as much information as possible. I think straight away this shouts at you that this is something that you're going to be able to utilize in a really, really powerful way. So again, let me know below, what would you like to see from this software? What would you want me to go into deep dive on? Do you want me to show you my solutions that I've made for my practice and show you how I've made them work and what's going on? It'll be very, very much centered around Google Sheets and how that can work, but also utilizing these two pieces of software. And I'm going to see for my own benefit, can I trade G-Accon and bring in Liveflow and swap them like for like? Is that even possible? At this point in time, I don't think so, but I'm going to reach out to the Liveflow team, see if there's any way that they've got in a roadmap where they can bring that functionality forward so that I can show exactly how to switch from one to the other. But yeah, it's exciting times ahead. This is the sort of stuff I love doing. This is kind of my bread and butter of what I kind of get up to. on a regular basis, so I'm excited to kind of get my hands dirty and see what else we can get done with it. Again, let me know below if there's any other questions you want answering. My name's been Patrick. As always, it's been a pleasure to do this video for you. Like and subscribe if you want more content along with this line, especially with this Liveflow integration, and we can have a look at that. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, don't forget the question box, put it down there, and we'll go from there. Like, subscribe, all that jazz, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now. I told him I can be a fighter if you want. I'll be there to catch you if you fall. I can make it brighter when it's dark, when it's dark. I told him I would do it all for you, and I know you do it for me too. I can be a fighter if you want, if you want. I can be a fighter, I can be a fighter if you want. I can be a fighter if you want. All the way that I feel, yeah, I know that it's real, cause I can get him out of my head. I don't care what we do, everything's feeling new, even if we stay in bed. My heart is saying yeah, 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 yeah. You know I want him, nah, 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 nah. My heart is saying yeah, 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 yeah. Hello and thank you for watching that video. What you may not know is this channel that you've watched this video from is part of a wider group. That wider group is called Apple Core Production, and the 3 channels that we have involved are as follows: Aaron Patrick, the QuickBooks Chat, Boffix Tax Tip. Finally, we have Apple Core Live and Geeky. All the links and everything are down below in the description, but it really means a lot to us if you can go and give a like to the other channels as well.